What's up, everybody? So today we're working on Luke's truck once again. I told you guys in the previous videos that it's up to Luke what he wants to do on the truck, and in last videos we've been doing the wheels, trim, all that stuff, getting it all cleaned up. But I think you want to do engine stuff today.
Sir.
And you guys can see here he's got a new package, just came in.
New carburetor.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be nice.
This is gonna completely replace what we have.
And this is Weber
3236.
Okay, and I guess we're gonna show them like underneath the hood here. But you guys can see it's gonna replace all of this over here. You can see like the mess of all these hoses and lines and stuff, and the vacuum tubes and everything. So this will definitely clean everything up. Plus it might perform a little better.
It should.
I'm not really sure what kind of performance you're gonna get, because this thing's only like what, 85 horses,
Yeah,
so it's not much. We'll see if there's anything great about it.
It should just run better.
Yeah,
that's what
and
we're
it'll clean it
shooting
up.
for. Yeah.
Main thing is just to clean up the engine bay, make it run a little bit better. And
this is a full kit too for it.
So this is a full Weber kit, and you got like the air cleaner and stuff in here, which I believe is chrome. So that looked nice. I'll definitely open it up so we can go ahead and jump in to start doing more stuff to the engine bay, cleaning it up, making it look a little nicer. I mean, this isn't like the permanent engine or anything.
No,
it's just getting up to where we want it to be. So I guess let's go ahead, jump into this. This will kind of be like a step-by-step type of video. So we'll see. Hopefully this explains it for you guys, and we're learning too. We've never actually done a carburetor swap, so let's just see how this goes. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is take off this air cleaner on here, as well as the carburetor itself. All these hoses and stuff are going to come off. This whole ductwork and stuff is coming out. I believe these vacuum canisters, all these lines and stuff. I guess, do you know if we're taking those out?
I don't know if these come out or not. I'm gonna have to look.
I guess we'll find out. We'll just start tearing this all apart and get to a certain point, and then bring you guys back and kind of explain some stuff that we've taken out and everything. So let's I guess go ahead and disassemble this. This is just a wing nut, so that'll come out. These are all just hooks like that. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get this out. Okay, so the first thing I do is take off this air cleaner. We've already taken like the filter and stuff out of there. You can see there's one bolt here, one in the back there, another one here. Got to disconnect all of these, like, I don't know, these just
hoses. It's,
what is it, emissions hoses and stuff. They go over to the headers or something.
Yeah, they go to
so those got to come off. And you said you think there's some piping underneath. Oh, it looks like there's two up here.
Two nuts here. There should be two vacuum lines under here that are attached. And
we probably won't need them in the future. And you went ahead and you've already taken off.
Yeah, so we can get to this
here, just to get access to that one. So we'll go ahead and start unscrewing those. Do you see the lines?
I do. So there's one here and one here.
I don't know if you guys can see it at all, but there's just one line. There's two lines right here.
So there's three.
And then there's one directly under the middle.
Right, yeah, right where the carburetor
sits. This one should pull out, but these two here are going to need some pliers. Okay, so there's actually a few more lines in there. There's like two more on this side. You guys can see this one as well as this one here. But yeah, you guys can see there's two spots underneath there. This one here, and that one there. What was there, just 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's it.
Okay, so that's out of the way. Next up, we guess we can start pulling out some of all these vacuum lines, this stuff here, and get to the car. You guys can just see how disgusting and dirty that was underneath there. So yeah, this is honestly cleaning it up, just doing that, getting rid of that big old air cleaner.
I just leave it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep on going. Okay, so we had to check real quick, make sure we weren't ripping out all the wrong stuff. It looks like everything over here can go. The only lines you have to keep is what? The PCV, this vacuum line that goes to the distributor over there, and
the brake booster,
and then there should be like a water line of some kind. I think it's one of these that's like back underneath here, so it goes underneath there. So pretty much we can just go ahead and delete all of this. All right, so far we've got most of these lines like disconnected from the carburetor itself. I got to figure out what stays and what goes, I guess. You definitely want some kind of gloves because this is very, very, very messy. But I guess for now we're gonna go ahead and try and take the carburetor off. It looks like what, there's just 4.
Yeah, 4.
12, 10. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But so far everything on this thing has been 10 and 12, so it's all pretty simple. These hoses and stuff, they're pretty brittle, so we may have to replace some of those. But yeah, main things to keep was brake booster, that one over there, PCV. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and try to get this stuff all out now. Alright, so just like that, carburetor's out. Oh, we're leaking gas. But that plug is down the alternator. And yeah, so everything should be out now. Now we can go ahead and find out where all of our hoses and stuff kind of go, which ones we don't need, which ones we do need. I know we will no longer need, what is this, EGR?
Yeah, we won't need this.
We'll have to make a plate for that. This is all get cleaned up and stuff. Yeah, I'm assuming that's all fuel. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and mess with this for a little bit, see if we can figure out everything that we need and don't need. So we'll bring you guys back once it's all cleaned up. Okay, so we managed to get like everything out of the way that we needed out. All the vacuum hoses that were sitting here are now gone. We took the EGR valve off. It's just three 10 millimeters, so that pops out. We ended up taking the bracket off over here. I believe that was holding the throttle cable on there.
Yeah.
So that's off now. This line will stay. This brake booster line, these fuel lines will all stay. We're actually going to run up and get some new ones because you guys can see these are pretty...
they're shot.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. All this will stay here. This stuff I'm not really sure what we do with. That's just kind of all the vacuum lines are going with that, so I don't know if we can get rid of them, completely delete them, or what. The fuses and stuff, this will all stay here. But as far as this stuff goes, I think we're good. I would like to eventually clean this all up just because it is so nasty, but we're going to need a new intake gasket for it up against the block or the head. So we'll go ahead and I guess just leave it now. We're going to go pick up some brake cleaner to try to clean all this up and some new vacuum lines and fuel lines. So we'll be right back.
A few moments later.
So we just got back, picked up some parts now. We end up getting some new fuel lines, vacuum lines and whatnot. I think Luke has the smaller roll somewhere that we end up getting. And we also got some new clamps. I've got my cutters here so we can go ahead and cut it. And we end up getting some carb cleaner. Yeah, there's the smaller vacuum line. Basically what we're doing is over here, carb cleaner is to go ahead and clean all this out just because it's kind of gross on the inside and the outside is very disgusting, as you guys can see. Our valve cover leaks, so that'll be a fix here in the future, so stay tuned for that. But the main reason for getting all those hoses and whatnot was to fix up any of these cracked, dry rotted, nasty lines. We took this one off of the booster just because it was all cracked and we needed to know the correct size. Fuel line, that's going to go here. We took off just to know the correct size as well. We got extra so we can replace others. So for now, we're going to go ahead, clean this up, and put the new lines on. Okay, so we went ahead, we got our lines put in, as you guys can see here. We got a booster line over there, the booster line that goes there. The fuel lines are new. We didn't replace those two. Those ones still look to be okay. We'll probably upgrade those here in the future. But as far as this goes now, we have it all cleaned up, or as best as we can for now. So our surface is fine. I think we can go ahead and start setting up our Weber carburetor, get our spacers and adapters and stuff set there, and then go ahead and start putting it together. Okay, so we went ahead, we got all of our pieces capped off. You guys can see here, we have all of these, one in the front and there's one in the back there. Hopefully you guys can see all that. Went ahead, took our adapter here, and it's supposed to slide over top of like this here. But you can see here it is hitting. So we're gonna need to go ahead and kind of grind this down a little bit just to clear this. What is this, PCB?
Yep.
So we're gonna need to go ahead and grind that out a little bit just to make it fit, and then we can go ahead and keep on going. The other thing we're gonna need to do is pull out these studs. Those will be a little bit of trick. We're going to try to get those out, and once we figure it out, we'll go ahead and bring you guys back and kind of show you exactly what we did. Okay, so we managed to get the first stud out. I think we got this kind of figured out. They do kind of suck to get out, but
kind of a trick.
Basically what you do is you take your first nut. This is like a 12 millimeter that was holding it on here, and you thread it on. I'll show it to you guys here in just a second. But you thread it down all the way down until it stops, and it's upside down. Then you'll take your other nut and you'll spin that one on top like that, and then all you gotta do is take these two and what am I doing? I gotta tighten them, or tighten the top one down like that, and then all you gotta do is should be able to take this one and loosen it. So then the whole stud, yep, you guys can see the stud out there is grabbing. This would be easier if I had like a ratcheting wrench. But it's really not too bad once you kind of figure out the hang of it. The hard part is, I guess, is getting the nuts to let go after that. We put it in a vise to release them. So just like that. So now we'll go ahead and do these other two. Okay, so we just managed to get the studs out. You guys can see here. We're gonna go ahead, clean up the surface, make sure it's nice and flat before we do any kind of gasket work. And then the adapter plate, like we mentioned before, that this corner right there is gonna need to get trimmed down a little bit to make sure we have clearance here for the PCV. The next thing we have to do after that, we'll be making the EGR block-off plate because we no longer need that. So let's go ahead and get that trimmed down. All right, we got that ground down so far now. We're gonna go ahead and test it, make sure that's enough. I think that should be good, hopefully. We'll find out. Fits. I think that'll work.
It's pretty good.
That should be good. So now we can go ahead and install our studs, new studs that'll go in here, and make our EGR plate block off. Okay, in order to make the EGR block-off plate, we have this piece of steel here, and we have the old gasket from the EGR. So we're gonna go ahead and like just place it up here, and then take a marker and just trace around the edges to get our shape, and then we'll make our whatever circles there, so we drill them out. That way the bolts will go through there. So just like that, we went ahead, got it traced out. So now we can go ahead and cut it out. That's scary.
That is scary.
And that's how you cut metal!
Yeah. So now all we gotta do is just trim out that edge. It's so freaking loud with that compressor.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys can see here we managed to get our template all cut out. It's got our holes here that we're gonna need to drill out next, so we'll do that. The other thing we need to do is go ahead and trim down these bolts. These are what held on the EGR, and they're too long for what we're gonna need them. So, I mean, I guess Luke's got the EGR here. You can see just how thick it was. So we're basically gonna need to cut that off. That way this holds it snugly up against the new template, and we're probably gonna have to use some RTV or something just to make it a nice gasket for it. Now you guys can see here I got the bolts cut down to size that we need. I had to retap them, die them just to get rid of that, clean up the edges on them, but now they are good to go. So next we'll go ahead and take this gasket, get it installed. We'll probably put some RTV on there. Luke's over there right now, he's getting it cleaned up, so let's go ahead and get this done. So now you guys can see we got our EGR valve block off plate on. It looks pretty good, it fit nicely. Our bolts threaded in good, and we got our RTV, like gasket maker stuff on there, so that should be held up tight. Next step, let's go ahead and put on our gasket as well as our adapter plate and get that started. Okay, so now we got everything set up here. Luke's got the gasket as well as the first adapter plate that we're gonna need, so I guess go ahead and put that first gasket on. And the gasket, or the...
I just want to make sure that's lined up before we...
Yep. And that's the adapter. You can see, you guys. And then you got the
Our bag of goodies.
yep, and they have the tapered screws or bolts.
Yep.
These are all held on by like Allen keys.
Yeah, don't
So you-
over tighten these.
Yeah, we don't want to crack the aluminum. That's what we've read about so far. So. Okay, so now we got those all snugged down. Next up will be to add the secondary gasket, which we have both of these here, as well as the other adapter plate. So we'll go ahead and set that up, and then we'll go ahead and bring you guys back. Once we have that all set together, you guys got to see there. It's basically the same step. The only thing that comes next is going to be studs that we have to install for the carburetor itself. And now that plate's done, so next up will be to add the studs as well as the carburetor. So now here are the studs that come with the kit. These you need to thread down until they stop, so we'll go ahead and put those in here and just start spinning. And that should be good for that. So then after that, we will add our gasket here. And then the carburetor. Alright, so now that this is hooked up, we'll go ahead and tighten all of these down here. It came with some nuts and washers, so we'll go ahead, get those tight. I'm sure you don't want to like crank them down too tight either, just because you have, it's all aluminum underneath there, so we don't want to ruin that in any way or strip them out. So just be careful. Okay, so we went ahead, gotten everything all tightened down. We end up having to put this bracket on. This bracket has to go on first, and then your washers, and then your nuts. This side's a little bit easier to access. It's this side here you're gonna have a little bit of a challenge with. And yeah, main thing here is just to make sure you don't like over tighten them or anything like that. Next up we have to do is, we had this bolt that was down here. We're gonna need to take it off and basically hook this bracket up here. So then that'll bolt in, and then the spring will connect to the throttle cable. So once we get the throttle cable to stretch across here, we'll get that hooked up and we should be good to go. Okay, so we went ahead, we got that bracket installed down here that you guys can see right there with the spring on it. There is just a tiny little hole. I don't know. You guys can see it right there.
Yeah, you can see it.
Just barely, but there's that spring that has to loop through there. So that's done. The other thing we went ahead and did was hooked up our throttle cable too. It's just the 2 bolts over here, and then you just hook it through. And let's see. You can see right there how it's like fed through. Everything seems to be fine. You don't want to have this too tight. It's nice and how it's supposed to be. Basically, everything that we've read online so far or seen videos of other people doing it and stuff, that's generally like what they do. We're just trying to test this out and see if it works. Next up, we'll be hooking up the alternator. So we're gonna need to run a cable from down to the alternator up to here, which was
The electronic choke.
Electronic choke. And then the other thing we noticed, we had replaced this line here. That's like advanced timing or something like that. Oh well, it doesn't matter. We don't need those hoses anyway. But this is like the advanced timing. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember
for sure what it's called. But it's supposed to come to this back here, and we cut it to the exact same length as the other one, and it's just shy. So we're gonna have to find another hose to use and eventually get a new hose in the future. It's a little too late right now. AutoZone's already closed. We went kind of late when we got this stuff, and I guess, like I said, we're just gonna use the older stuff and get that hooked up properly.
We just wanted to see if it runs.
Exactly. And then this one here, this is our fuel line, which will hook up to here.
This guy gets plugged.
Yeah, this guy is nothing, so we don't have to worry about him. Once that's done, we can go ahead and put on our air filter, get all that set up, and we should be, for the most part, done.
Yep.
So main thing first is getting the alternator wired. Okay, so we managed to get our cable here. This is off of the other carburetor here. I just went ahead, snipped it off. I believe it was, yeah, right here on this. So it's up there like that. I just cut it off, so now we have this. It gives us that end that'll plug into the alternator, so we'll plug that in. And then the kit comes with another end that will attach to here. I believe Luke says he has it in his hand.
That's it.
Right there. So we're gonna go ahead, trim this wire back, pinch it down, and then solder it and make sure to put some like heat shrink wrap on it just to keep it protected, and then we should be good to go. So after that's done, we can go ahead, hook up our fuel line and the air cleaner. Okay, so we went ahead, we got this end soldered on, as well as getting this heat shrinked. So now it's good to go. Let's go ahead and wire it up in the car. Okay, so we went ahead, we got this hooked up, which you guys just saw. We got it all soldered up and everything. So that's ready to go, plugged in down to the alternator. Put a plug on here as well. We're not gonna be using this. We need to figure out like a different solution for this, just because it's not used. All we used was just this tubing, bolt, and then some couple clamps. It'll work for now. Then we also hooked up our fuel line, so the fuel line's ready to go. I think everything is set up in place for the alternator at the moment. All that's left to do is go ahead and put our air cleaner on. And then after that's done, we need to figure out what we're doing with all this piping, because none of this is going to be used. It's all just emission stuff. It's all just garbage. So we'll figure out something to do with that. But for now, let's go ahead and put our air cleaner on. Okay, so we got this thing unboxed now. You guys can see here is the air cleaner. It's nice, chrome, clean.
Covered in fingerprints.
Yeah, it's got fingerprints on it now. But it's got the gasket on the inside there that needs to come out.
That goes on first.
And that goes on first, you say? So like that. So that's ready to go. Then it's got the base.
And we got a little bit of hardware to put on them.
So those will get screwed on first.
Yep.
It's got these 4 screw holes here. So we'll screw those on, and then that'll go on top. And I believe that's got little clips that'll just latch from the top to bottom. So then that'll set there. And then, yeah.
That should be
we got the PCV or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever goes, it's this thing here. It plugs in the bottom.
Yeah, and comes over here.
You got that white piece there. Let's go ahead and get that
on there.
Yeah.
Oh, this one isn't enough.
So then I think this should just go up from the bottom like that. And maybe screw in.
Hopefully screw in.
And I'm cross-threading it. I'm going crooked. There we go. So then like that, and we'll run a hose from here to here, and then put all this stuff on here. Maybe.
There you go.
Yep, just like that. And now we are all done. We got the carburetor all installed. It looks pretty good. We do need to do some touch up as far as like this kind of stuff goes. And we don't have like a hose that goes from here to here that fits properly. So I don't really know what that piece is. It seems to be just fine. Let's I guess let's go ahead and start it.
Okay.
Let's see this thing run. So let's cross our fingers and hopefully this thing starts up and actually goes. Oh, come on, man. Over there throwing things.
I'm so excited.
They're waiting. They want to see it start.
Hey,
I'm waiting. I want to see it start.
All right, here we go.
She started. She's idling good. Yeah, it sounds better than what it did before. I guess once the weather gets a little bit better outside, we can go for like a ride or drive and see how it actually is. But for now, I think we're just going to go ahead and leave it. So go and shut it off because it seems to be running properly. The one thing that we did end up doing was taking and crushing these exhaust pieces. This one we couldn't get very well. You can still see it's open a little bit, but it's better than what it was rather than having it open and just blowing out exhaust fumes. We're definitely going to need to do something about those. I know you have a plan in mind of what you want to do for over here. Just to delete all this, I think...
this all should come off,
I think a header's in the future. So stay tuned for that. And the other thing that we need to definitely do is touch up like this valve cover. It leaks like crazy, so we're going to need to do something about that. I think when we have it out, we're going to paint it. So if you guys have any suggestions on colors that you'd like to see, let us know. Throw it down in the comments. And I mean, there's a few other little issues that I've noticed with this car.
That we've actually recently found.
Yeah, there's like a few little leaks and stuff that need to get touched up. So we'll have to fix all that stuff. But otherwise, if you guys like this video and you like the way it turned out, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. We got plenty more stuff coming for this truck. And see you guys in the next one.